Hi guys, welcome to another video on the Visconti Sforza. I did not mean this to be a series of videos, but this is the third video on the Visconti Sforza. I just suspect that it's better for me to make different videos of different aspects of it, otherwise it'd get a little bit too muddled and too long as well. And so in this video, I would like to show you a comparison between the first edition and the second edition of the Monumenta Longobardica's edition of the Visconti Sforza, printed by Grafica Gutenberg in Italy. Both dated in the booklet as 1974, but I think perhaps 73, 74, I'm not quite sure. But it's commonly accepted that the first edition here was perhaps published alongside with the US Games version of it, but that one of them altogether in 74 was perhaps the first facsimile production of the Visconti Sforza deck. So my own theory is that they are potentially a joint publication, given that US Games seem to have, or there are indications that US Games seem to have made some arrangements in the early 70s with various publication houses, including Rider, for example, for the Rider-Waite-Smith joint publication. And it seems to me that it is very likely, given that reality, that they have also they're strike a deal with Monumenta Longobardica to produce to publish jointly the Visconti Sforza, sourced from the same printer, which is Grafica Gutenberg. And so, to me personally, as an enthusiast, the first edition to me is important because it is the first of the Visconti Sforza facsimile decks. I could be wrong, but my reading of what I've found so far, my research suggests that this is indeed the case, or this is the currently accepted theory or hypothesis, until we can see or find any more information and data to suggest otherwise. And so these are the major arcana. I'm going to put them aside to speak about, because these are the important cards here. I thought this is the Knight of Staves. It's not. It's the Knight of Coins. That a club there threw me off. So this is the first edition with the line drawing here. 1, 2, 3, because these are the missing cards. This is definitely the missing card because all of the suit has a knight except for the coins. These two, on the other hand, are subject of current continuous discussions amongst historians as to whether these two, the Tower and the Devil, are missing, or were they even part of the original deck. This one here is the Three of Swords. As you can see, it looks like to have been removed, and I think it's a Five of Swords basically, with two of them interestingly, rather rudimentarily removed there, which I thought was quite charming. As a study deck and as a reference deck, I feel that that's quite charming because it shows what's what. It is making a clear distinction of what was there, or what is currently there, and what has been tweaked very, very clearly. If you see in a more modern deck or in a more recent publications, you don't see that as much. So you can see these four are, not original to the current collection. Pierpont-Morgan, I think the collection's called. So this is the second edition. The booklet also says 1974. So there's 1974. But of course the difference is, or in terms of the cards, the differences are that now we have two cards here, the Devil and the Tower, that has been redrawn by an artist. And we have the Knight of Coins here that also has been recreated. And interestingly, the Three of Swords, it's still in the form of the Five of Swords, looking like it's been, like, with two of the swords deleted there, or removed, or erased, or blotched out. It reminds me of, for those of you who are old enough to remember Tip-X, you know, those white liquid that you put on your notebooks, for me in high school. So I've already removed that. So we are going to go straight to the Devil, and I will link below a few websites showing you all the cards, the replacement cards, or cards that have been redrawn, and also a few discussion threads regarding the various editions and which one is indeed the first facsimile edition of the first facsimile published of the Visconti Sforza. Give me a minute. Okay, I'm back. So these two remain the same. First edition on the left, second edition on the right. There's a slight difference in the orange border coloration. The left is slightly brighter, the right slightly more muted. So put that aside, and then we take a look at second edition on the right. By then the Knight of Coins have been recreated by using images of other knights and by using images of the coins from. So all of these images, my understanding is that put together based on various images in the card, in the deck itself, and they're pulled together to form the Knight of Coins here. And first edition Devil on the left, second edition Devil on the right. I'll put the name of the artist down below. The line drawing is by an uncredited artist. I can't remember if the second edition on the right there is uncredited as well, but both Monumenta Longobardica and US Games published this one around about the same time. And then the Tower on the right is the second edition, on the left is the first edition. So both Monumenta Longobardica and US Games published these two versions as first and second editions, seemingly together in some kind of a co-publishing agreement similar to the ones that they have with the Rider Waite Smith. If you see the Rider blue box from the early 70s with pre-copyright US Games Rider Waite Smith yellow box. It's almost like that kind of an arrangement. Both decks were produced and printed by Grafica, Gutenberg. And so those are really the main differences. And really quickly, I would like to, my own personal theory is that if there is the first, it would be the Monumenta Longobardica. Yeah, I mean, nobody can say for sure. I think Monumenta Longobardica for me is like Rider and Co. for the Rider Waite Smith, and Monumenta Longobardica for the Visconti Sforza facsimile. And US Games, for me, it is more likely that US Games came into the picture with a joint publication agreement. However, I would like to point something out here, that the replacement cards have been, in the booklet, attributed to Stuart Kaplan. I tarocchi di Stuart R. Kaplan Mondadori. This one here, that one there, and those two. Similarly, And so this is the only kink in my theory. However, if I were to persist with my hypothesis for now, like these two as well, it says I tarocchi di Stuart R. Kaplan Mondadori, this one as well, and again here, and not there, but here, and these two. So I'm wondering, I'm simply speculating here, that Stuart Kaplan may come in and say, I will provide you with the cost and the execution and the artists and whatever of these replacement art pieces, and we can then jointly publish it together, and you can use my images or something like that. It's just that given the larger context of the timing, which is early 70s, and I think Stuart Kaplan started in 71 after discovering the J.J. Swiss, if I'm not mistaken. And so just thinking of the timeline and everything, that would be my current working theory. And so there are 7 versions of the Devil and Tower replacement cards of the Visconti Sforza reproductions. 1 is a line drawing. 2 is this one here. The 3rd version is US Games 3rd edition, which I own, but it's buried somewhere, and it's too much of a mission for me to unearth everything. But when I can, I will come back to show you the US Games 3rd edition version, which is a 3rd version of The Devil and the Tower. Otherwise, please refer to a website, which I will link below. The 4th version is the Golden Visconti Sforza Tarot by Mary Packard, published by Race Point. I used to own that, but I have since gifted that away. Again, you can see the picture in that website, which I will link below. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 other versions are by Lo Scarabeo, and I don't own the Lo Scarabeo versions because I don't really like them aesthetically. In terms of reproduction, I felt they're a bit too bling. And so the other one is, and the other one, of course, is the Il Meneghello version, which I've shown you in the other video. Please feel free to refer to that. So there's 1, 2, 3. Where's the other one? 4 is Mary Packard's, which I don't have anymore, and you can refer to the website below. 5 and 6 are the Lo Scarabeo. And the 7th is a 3rd edition by US Games, which was drawn by Luigi Scapini. It's very, very distinct Scapini style, and I really quite like that. When I first started collecting them almost 4 years ago, I really prefer the Scapini's version above all else. But these days, I prefer to be reminded that these cards, especially these 2, because there's no doubt that this was missing, since, as I said, since all the suits have a knight, they won't make sense, or it doesn't, although it's possible, it isn't likely that the suit of coins are singled out without a knight. However, these 2 are a bit more debatable. So that one there, I will come back when once I manage to dig that one out and put them side by side. Otherwise, the web page down below will be quite sufficiently informative. And there's a couple of threads, as I've mentioned before, of discussions in terms of the 1st edition, whether it's the first ever facsimile produced of the deck, and if so, whether it was whether Monumenta Longobardica, this version over here, whether this one was indeed the first to do so, or whether US Game is the first, or whether the both of them published together. My current working theory is still that these guys, this particular one here, is probably the first, but I think I suspect these artwork here was provided, purchased, organized, or commissioned by US Games, I suspect, just given the fact that they were credited in this booklet. So that's it for now. I'll talk to you later.